Hey, welcome to Thinking is Contagious. I don't know if you caught this, but the lying, praying mantis president of the United States, Kamala Harris, uh, was on TV yesterday or the day before on CNN, of course, and she said that her administration had basically started from zero on the vaccine rollout. That a problem that had been with us for almost a year, they were taking over starting from zero on the vaccine rollout. We know she's a liar, and that only reinforces the fact that she is a massive liar. We pointed this out, as I said, back when, remember when Joe Biden uh, decided to choose a vice presidential candidate from a very small demographic? He didn't. He said, "I'm not." He didn't want to choose the best candidate. He said, "I'm going to choose the best female of color candidate to be vice president." So we pointed it out at the time. You know, um, that's like if you need brain surgery and you're told, well, your choice is among the best uh, female left-handed surgeons available. That's what we have as our vice president. That's the choice we have as our vice president, or president, actually, excuse me, as our president in waiting. Anyway, her lie and her willingness to lie is documented. She went on Colbert after she was chosen in that limited demographic to be the vice president. She went on Colbert, and Colbert asked her, how can you be the vice president to someone that you said racist and was segregationist? And she laughed and she put on that Joker smile of hers and she said, it was a debate. It was a debate. In other words, I will say or do anything for my cause. That's her position, including lie, which is what she does. She's a professional liar. And she is so far left that the left doesn't even know how to get to where she's at. So that is our president. Uh, in the meantime, the wax figure that comes out and acts as the president, let's say he belongs in Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. That wax figure continues to go out there and make a fool of himself, uh, a babbling fool of himself. The other day they caught him. He was on a hot mic and he was signing executive orders, or signing paperwork. I'm not sure it was executive orders. So what am I signing here? That shows you who he is, and it fits into the narrative of what I told you. The Democrats thought they had no shot against Trump. The economy was booming, record unemployment for minorities, record home ownership, income growth, wealth growth, everything for minorities. The economy was working for everyone, not like under Obama, Biden, where it worked only for the rich. They said, the Democrats said, we have nobody. Let's put the sacrificial lamb up, Joe Biden, like the Republicans put, what's his name? Palin and McCain. I'm sorry. When the Republicans put up McCain, they knew they had no shot against Obama, so they said, let's do this. This is this old guy. He's never going to be president. Let's just let him have his 15 minutes of fame. Well, they told Joe, hey, we're going to let you have your 15 minutes of fame. We're not going to burn a good candidate because Trump's going to win. But then, lo and behold, COVID came, and the Democrats said, "Holy cow, we got COVID!" But oh my God, we put in Joe. Doesn't matter. Let's rig this thing. Let's fix this thing. Let's cook this thing, and let's let Joe win. Even though Joe couldn't draw flies, we're led to believe that Joe drew 80 million, 81 million votes, 8 or 9 million more than Barack Obama did, 7 million, 5 or 6 million more than Donald Trump did. A guy who didn't even campaign, couldn't draw flies. And then I'm told, oh no, it was a vote against Trump. No, you don't turn out 80 plus million because you're voting against someone. That is a mandate. That is something that requires people going out of their way because they have a conviction. There's no conviction with Joe Biden. The words don't even belong in the same sentence. So that defeats that narrative. Anyway, it was put together. He won the quote unquote. He won the election. I got to be careful what I say because I've already had 2 programs taken off. So and we have Kamala in the White House at this point, and we have Joe Biden, the Trojan horse, coming out and saying, contradicting himself left and right. Now, the school thing, I don't know if you saw, but Lightfoot in Chicago, Whitmer in Minnesota, Newsom in California, Cuomo in New York, all of them are just, oh, we got to get the kids back to school. Well, their kids got to go back to school. And just a few months ago, the kids couldn't go back to school. Remember, it was terrible. Everyone was at risk. What changed? I'll tell you what changed. The president changed. And Pelosi told you that, as much as that. When they asked her what had changed, that she was willing to come to the table and be cooperative, she said the president changed. Okay? So it was all a mandate against Trump. The second impeachment was all an attempt. They know that when 2024 comes and a third party comes and it's endorsed by Trump, the swamp will be drained forever. And that's their fear. Right now, they are planning the next 4 years to rape and pillage. The left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats are planning to rape and pillage this country because they know that when the third party comes and Trump gets behind it, it's all over. The swamp will be drained forever. Okay, and that's what we have to make sure that happens, is that the swamp is drained forever. And the only way, people, we're going to make this happen is if a third party is viable. And that third party has to have the endorsement of Donald Trump. And we need to get behind him, and we need to make sure that the right candidate goes up to destroy and drain the swamp. And we, unlike what the Democrats did in 2020, we're going to do this professionally, ethically, morally, honestly, peacefully, cleanly. We're going to win without any of the cooking that occurred in 2020. And it continues today. The left, they continue their attack on mainstream America. They continue their attack on white America. They continue their attack on white males in America. They continue their attack because in this country today, if you are a white male and you run for office, the first thing that you've got to prove is that you're not a racist. America, the country where you are innocent until proven guilty, if you are a white male, you have to prove that you are not a racist, you are not sexist, you are not a misogynist, you are not a xenophobe if you're a white male. I've been watching CNBC this week, okay, and watching Black History Month, and I've been watching all these people come out and say how we need to strive for equality, and we need to make sure that the opportunities are there for the minorities, the people of color, and it's economic. And when is a check? When is a handout opportunity? When is a check a way out of a situation? No, it takes effort. There's only so many checks that we can give, okay? And it takes effort. People who get, and for the most part, I know there's no absolutes, but I feel that people that earn money, work for it, sacrifice, have ups and downs, or lose money in trying to make money, risk takers, entrepreneurs, research, do their due diligence, and put their soul behind it, an effort, not working 8 hours a day, working 20 hours a day if it needs to be, not working 5 days a week, working 7 days a week. When those people put some money together, they automatically handle that money wisely. You know why? Because they took part of their soul to earn that money. Now, if that money's handed to you on a silver platter, yeah, you know, you're going to do some cursory due diligence, but you know there's more where that came from. So, you know, let's just spend it. We think this is a good idea. We'll see if it is. Like that commercial that's out there now for the mortgage. We think instead of we're sure. That's perfect example. That's a perfect commercial for exactly this position. That's the difference between we think and we're sure. When the money is earned by sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears, you're damn well sure that that person's going to be as close to sure as they can be before they put their money to work. Okay? And what are we seeing? We're seeing this mandate about checks based on race, gender. There's in Seattle, there's a fund that was made available for business, small businesses. But however, you can only apply. The only people that are allowed to apply is businesses owned by minorities, period. It's got to be 100% owned by a minority. If not, you're not eligible. So it doesn't matter if you're an upstart non-minority, you're not eligible for that money. Guess where that money came from? The taxpayer. That's taxpayer funds that's being earmarked only for a small section of society. Why is that? Could you imagine if those funds, it was said the only people that can get these funds are white people? Could you imagine? The only people that can get these funds are Asian people. Could you imagine the uproar that would be caused in this country? Just like in Seattle, I don't know if you saw, but Antifa piled a bunch of snow in front of a police office. Okay? A bunch of snow so that the police couldn't get out to respond to emergency situations. This was in Seattle. Okay? In the meantime, you got people trying to try Trump for a riot, and you got Antifa blocking police from going out. You know what that is? But that's acceptable in this woke society. Okay? You have a woman on one of those TV shows wears a jacket with a Confederate flag on it, and she's got to come out and apologize for wearing a jacket with a Confederate flag. Why? I see Che Guevara shirts everywhere. Everywhere I see Che Guevara shirts. How come we don't know? There's nobody complaining about that? The guy who's hosted The Bachelor for, 20 years came out and spoke against the woke a little bit, and they make him resign. 20 years. And then they say, oh no, this is all inclusive. If you're the liberals, we're for everyone. We want everyone to take part in this. Like Joe Biden, I want to be everybody's president. The liberals, we want to be everybody. We want everybody to take part in this government. No, you don't. Only everybody that agrees with you. This is a bunch of crap. This is racism, 100%. Yes, racism is what's occurring here. Hiding behind the facade that we're doing this to protect minorities. They're not doing this to protect minorities. They're doing this to make sure minorities stay dependent on the government teat for a living. That way they get the votes. That's what this is. Take tax dollars, which, by the way, and I've said this before, 70% of the money needed to turn the lights on in this country every day, 70% of that money comes from the top 10% wage earners. The same people that are being attacked. The same people that are being called privileged. The same people that are being criticized and said that they cheated to get to where they are. No, they didn't cheat. They worked. They worked, the majority. Nothing is an absolute, like I've always said. There are some cheats. There are some scumbags. But the vast majority of people with money and wealth in this country have busted their ass to make it. They haven't sat home and waited for a government check. They haven't demanded reparations because 150 years ago, somebody in their family was a slave. They came to this country without the language, without a penny to their names. They lived in slums and they lived in ghettos, and they've all advanced. The only sector of this society that continues to have these issues of lack of equality and lack of opportunity is the U.S.-born minorities. Why is that? Why is that? Ask yourself that question. What sector of people have come into this country from everywhere? Africa, China, the Far East, Poland, England, Russia, Venezuela, Cuba, Honduras, Nicaragua, wherever you want. They've come here And what has happened? Don't tell me that the lack of opportunity is based on someone's race or gender no, no, no. Opportunity is seized by effort. Opportunity is seized by relentless pursuit. And that's not to say that we are not here and we shouldn't be careful and make sure that everyone is treated fairly. Absolutely. Everyone needs to be treated fairly and equally. There's no doubt about that. And there is no difference in Americans, even no matter how much the left and the Democrats try to tell you separate us by race, we're all Americans, and we shouldn't look at each other as African American or Cuban American or Asian American. We should all be just Americans. But of course, that doesn't fit the narrative of the AOCs of the world, of the President Kamala Harris, of Maxine Waters. That doesn't fit their narrative. They've got to keep us divided and fighting against each other so that they remain prominent, so that they remain important, so that they are looked to resolve the problems. That's what this is. There's absolutely no doubt that that's what this is. And if not, I challenge you. I ask you this question. And yes, there's going to be a whole bunch of you that say he's a racist. Tell me another group that has immigrated into this country. Tell me a group that has immigrated into this country, not another. Tell me a group that has immigrated into this country that has not been successful. And why do they come here? They come here because this is the land of opportunity, of freedom, and this is the land of education, and this is the land of advancement, and this is the land that you get out of it what you put into it. That's why they come here. That's why they risk their lives to come here. That's why we had to build a wall on the border, because people were trying to get in illegally. No one's trying to get into Russia. No one's trying to get into Nicaragua. No one's trying to get into Venezuela. No one's trying to get into Cuba. They're trying to get into the United States. So what do? We were building a wall to protect our citizens and make sure that the immigration that comes here is legal and controlled. And what has Biden and the Democrats done? They've ceased operations of the wall. They don't want anyone stopped from coming in. But they do want to stop people from flying into Florida. So they don't want to stop illegal immigrants from entering the United States, but they do want to stop you, a U.S. citizen, from buying an airplane ticket and going from New York to Florida. They do want to stop that. They're a bunch of hypocrites. They are a bunch of BS artists, and we need the third party to get rid of them. They are all scum that are in it for themselves. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer. Cuomo's been exposed for the fraud that he is. Fauci, king of the frauds, talks out of both sides of his mouth, has been on every side of the argument for the last year. Okay? Masks work, masks don't work. Social distance works, social distance doesn't work. This is going to be a problem, this is not going to be a problem. There's not going to be a pandemic. This guy's nowhere. This guy's a loser. He's never been. He's made himself into a celebrity. He's got an ego that's as big as he is. And he's not big, but he's all ego. People, this is a serious situation. And this needs to be addressed. And this needs to be realized for what it is. The people in Washington, D.C., every day wake up and say, how can we keep this country as racist as possible? How can we separate this country by race, gender, religion, creed, by sexual orientation? How can we, what else, what other category can we create to divide this country so we can cause conflict and they can look to us to solve their problems? And in the meantime, guess what? They're not solving anybody's problems. They're solving their own problems by stealing, by pillaging, by creating laws and writing legislation that helps their benefactors, who eventually it trickles back down to them. This is a giant feeding trough. They're gorging on it. And the little government checks the $1,400, the $2,000, the PPE, the this and that. Those are crumbs. They're willing to give up those crumbs because they don't. It's not from them. The government doesn't make any money. It's from the top 10% of the people. They're willing to give those crumbs as long as they get the bulk of the feeding themselves. They'll let some of those crumbs fall to buy votes. And that's what they've been doing, buying votes. Okay, I've told you what I think. We need a third party. Circulate this. Let's get some subscribers, please. Let's get some people motivated. Let's get some people interested. I can't be any more clear. I'm putting it out there, and I would love your feedback. Thank you. Have a good day.